And good morning, welcome to Impact. My name is Russell Thomas and my guest this morning is Mandy McDonald from Justin Slade Youth Foundation. I'm so excited that you're here. So excited, in fact, I shaved.
Oh, awesome.
First time in 3 months.
I didn't.
Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Congratulations, you had your grand reopening the other day. How did that go?
It went awesome.
Yeah.
So that was on the 21st. So we had it from 6 until 8 o'clock in the nighttime. So that was down at the drop-in center, which is located in the Haxton Center. Yeah, so it went awesome. We kind of wanted to focus on that day, especially because that was Justin Slade's birthday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So why did you call it a grand reopening?
So, I mean, we weren't closed down for too long, but pretty much what we wanted to do, so we sat down before we did the grand reopening with pretty much one of my board members that I sat down with at one of our board meetings, and we started trying to discuss the programs that we were offering at that time, and realized it was time to kind of give the drop-in center a bit of facelift. So, I mean, realistically speaking, the generation that we are from is not the generation of today. So what we did was kind of come up with some ideas as far as what can we offer in the drop-in center that entices teenagers to come down and take part in the programming that is there. And for us, with this generation, it's the generation of technology. So what we did was we wanted to close down for a couple of days so that the teenagers could kind of get a bit of a surprise when they return back to it. So that's why we called it the grand reopening. So we shut down 3 days before that. And we put up all of our technology. We gave the dugout. It was pretty much, we have a mural that's done in there too. That's by Ruth Perry. So
yeah,
we wanted to reveal a new look to everybody all at the same time.
Very good.
Yeah.
Let's back up a little bit for the people that might be listening that don't know the story, but I want to first understand the context of your story.
Sure.
You're the executive director now, but you've been with Justin Slade Youth Foundation for how long?
So since 2010. So I was hired back then by Leslie Piercy, who is now with Safe Community Wood Buffalo. So she was the ED at the time, and so I had gone in and applied for the program coordinator position. So she hired me, and I stuck with it since then. So 2016 came around, and that's when I stepped in as an interim ED. So that kind of started in January, and then of course I went on for a couple of months, and then evacuation had happened. So after the evacuation come June, that's when the board decided to put in place that I was going to be the permanent executive director. So I'm really fortunate. I'm really happy about it. So I'm learning a lot of new things, but it's a big change. Going from the program coordinator.
I hate to say it, but 7 years in the social profit world in Fort McMurray, that's a long time.
Yeah, it is a really long time.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you have a deep, deep connection to the work. Now let's go back and how did this thing happen? Like, where did the Justin Slade Youth Foundation come from, and who is Justin Slade, and what is the mission?
Yeah, so Justin Slade was, he was from Fort McMurray, and he was the son of Keith and Carolyn Slade, who right now live in BC. They decided that, so unfortunately a car accident took the life of Justin Slade when he was 21 years old. So come 2004, after they had their funeral, they took in donations during the funeral and decided to open up the youth project, which was the Justin Slade Youth Foundation. So I think their goal at the time was that Justin did have a passion for youth in the community at the same time too, and they wanted to give teenagers something to do and to provide them with a space that was clean, safe, drug-free environment, keep them from hanging around on the streets. So they started the Justin Slade Youth Foundation with the drop-in center. And from there, it just kind of grew and got bigger and bigger. And now we have 2 main programs with the Justin Slade Youth Foundation, one of them being the drop-in center, and then we also have JSYF Presents. So JSYF Presents is kind of the outside programming compartment of Justin Slade, and what that was it's offering programs in different parts of the city. Unfortunately, there are some teenagers out there that financially can't afford to travel to the different parts of Fort McMurray to take part in programming that they want to take part in. So JSYF Presents was created so that it addressed the need of accessibility for teenagers.
Some outreach.
Yeah, exactly.
Was the center always at the Haxton Center, like originally?
Yeah, so it started at the Haxton Center, and from there in, I think it was, I want to say like close to 2014, when there was some talk about the city kind of changing that, redevelopment of the city, and there was supposed to be a bridge that was actually going to pass through there, and the Haxton Center at that time was going to be demolished. But those plans didn't go through, so the city kind of came back to us at that time. So we temporarily relocated to Franklin Avenue, which at the same time was a blessing for us too, because it was right on Franklin Avenue. So you have the bus depot that's right there at the provincial building. So it kind of brought the foundation to the eye, that you could see it right from our main street in Fort McMurray. And so our numbers increased from that. And we were really fortunate that once the city decided that they weren't going to really be putting up the bridge, they came back to us and had told us at that time that they wanted us to remain in the Haxton Centre, which we were happy for that. It's a blessing for us that the city provides us with that building. We love it down there. Borealis Park has a lot of things to offer, especially in the summertime. You have the basketball court there, you have the skateboarding park there, you have the pond, you have the walking track. So there's a lot of things for teenagers to do down there, especially in the summertime. So we are very, very fortunate to have that building. So when we returned back there, we were also fortunate that a lot of the teenagers had followed us back down to the location, but especially the teenagers that only knew us being on Franklin Avenue that were new at that time. So as soon as those doors reopened again and we went back there to the building, they followed us down there. So we were really happy for that.
It must be a bit of a challenge. I know my own kids, they're, let's see, how old's Ben? Now you're testing me. 13, and Dylan is
Yep.
just turned 18. So they are now getting used to using transit and getting around
Yep.
on their own. But I'm sure the geography of the Haxton Centre can be a bit of a challenge.
It is, yeah, it is for sure. Like I said, we appreciate being there. It's just that, you know, you have to have really strong advertising and promotion for that part of
Yeah.
it, right? So most of our promotion that we do is obviously social media, because teenagers follow Facebook like crazy. So that's I think they spend maybe about 80% of their days on Facebook too.
Yeah,
so.
totally.
Yeah, so I mean, when we talk with the city and stuff like that as well, to address the need of the bus routes to go down that way and stuff. So we are fortunate, but advertising is really strong for us, that we have to make sure that we put it out there in the community a lot, that's where it is. So we are happy to at this point, because the city decided to give us a sign now. So we do have a big sign that's posted in Borealis Park that says the Justin Slade Youth
perfect.
Foundation now. So you can see it when you're driving by on the road down there on Morrison Street. So it's definitely bringing a little bit more attention to the building.
Love it. Well, my guest this morning is Mandy McDonald from Justin Slade Youth Foundation. They run the Haxton Centre, which is in Borealis Park. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to find out, Mandy, where in the world you're from.
Okay.
And
Sounds
how
good.
you ended up here.
Okay.
You're listening to Impact. It is a collaboration of the United Way, Fuse Social, Shaw TV, Fort McMurray, and our friends right here at 91.1 The Bridge. Welcome back. I'm honored to be joined by Mandy McDonald from Justin Slade Youth Foundation. Been with the organization since 2010, practically a lifetime
Yeah.
in the social profit sector. Did you come to Fort McMurray for that job, or were you
No,
here already?
No, I was already here. So I am originally from Cape Breton, and my hometown was called Glace Bay. So I decided
Glace Bay Miners Museum.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, love it.
Yeah.
Love it. So I am originally from Glace Bay, and so I graduated from high school there, from Glace Bay High School, and decided to go to university at the time, which was the Cape Breton University. So I went 2 years to Cape Breton University, and then unfortunately my life took a little bit of a turn. My parents had gone through a separation at the time, so at that point money became an issue, of course. So I decided to switch over to community college. So I went to the Nova Scotia Community College and took my Human Services and Community Studies from there. So during that time, I met a guy, of course, just like a lot of people do in school. And he's actually originally from the Democratic Republic of Congo. So he was on a soccer scholarship at the Cape Breton University, so we met each other through there. We were friends for a really long time. Well, not really long time, like a couple years, of course. And then, obviously, it kind of flourished into a bit of relationship. So his family, when they came over from the Democratic Republic of Congo, originally went to Deer Lake, Newfoundland. So when they got to Deer Lake, a couple of years went by from there, and then of course they start hearing talks about Fort McMurray, about making money here, the oil fields, yada yada. Same as in Cape Breton. Cape Breton, you hear the same thing there all the time. A lot of Cape Bretoners like to come over to Fort McMurray to make some money, right? So we, at that time, so his mom and his brothers and sisters moved over to Fort McMurray. So me and Jules decided that, I think it was 2006, that we came to Fort McMurray the first time to come and work for the summer, but he still had a year left of school. Like I said, he was on a soccer scholarship, so soccer's his life. He absolutely loves soccer, and he's amazing at it, of course. And so we came back to Fort McMurray after being in we went back to Cape Breton after being in Fort McMurray for the summertime. He finished his last year of university, and then we came back over here and ended up staying. So I became pretty much a permanent resident in Fort McMurray in 2008.
You used yada yada in the sentence. I'm really quite
Yeah.
impressed with that. Your program.
Sometimes I say that when I don't know what
It's
to
a
say.
great
so-
word. The program, you said something in community services. What was it again?
Human services.
Human services.
Yeah, human services.
So that educational path,
Yep.
how has it contributed to what you're doing now professionally?
You know what? Like it's been a long time actually since I've been in school. So I was going to school that was about 2007, right? So, I mean, of course, it contributed to me learning a lot about working in the community. I tried to take a focus on working with children and youth at that time, but it was mostly children. But I definitely do think that it sparked a passion in me for sure. So. If I had stayed in university, I was kind of going down the path of psychology at that time too, so it was the closest thing that I could get into at that time, so
Yeah.
that I kind of still continued on to that path. But it definitely sparked a passion in me. So when I moved over to Fort McMurray in 2008, I don't know what it was. Like it's not originally what I decided to do was go for jobs that were within the human services. It was more for me at that time about making money, to be honest with you. And so I had a lot of debt. I had student loans and things like that I had to take care of. So I actually originally started at a construction company. So I was doing kind of like office admin and running around and just kind of being the go-to person for a lot of the people that were working there. And I was the only female that worked at that construction site at the time. So I went on with that job for a couple of months, and then I moved on from there actually to Dynalife, and I was working at Dynalife doing the drug testing. So I did that for about a year or so. Then I got pregnant, so I had my first child at that time. And then when I went to return back to that job, I had to kind of start my probation over again and whatnot. So I decided to look for other things. So I came across the job posting for the Justin Slade Youth Foundation as program coordinator. So it was kind of within the field that I studied. So I took the opportunity to apply, and God love Leslie that she decided to hire me at that time. So.
Yeah,
The
7 years later.
Yeah. The foundation is what makes me stay in Fort McMurray. I love it here. And when I had moved here originally, I probably had the same thoughts in my head that a lot of Cape Bretoners do, right? That they're going to come here for a couple of years, they're going to make money. But when you get here to Fort McMurray, you realize the strong sense of community that is in here. So when I got in with the social profit sector and started getting to know people, this place, as much as I love Cape Breton, Fort McMurray is my home. For sure. I love Fort McMurray.
There's got to be something about your work with Justin Slade Youth Foundation that is driving you to spend 7
Yeah.
years and
Yeah.
now in a leadership position. I'm interested to know, when you wake up in the morning and it's not a good morning and you have to somehow inspire yourself to go to work again, is there a moment or several moments that jump to your mind of, oh yeah, this is why I do this?
Yeah.
Like what jumps to mind without giving away any confidences? What are those moments?
Teenagers. I love them. I love the teenagers that come
You
to
want
the
a couple?
foundation. No. Not for at home right now.
Yeah, no.
I do have 2 young kids, actually. My kids
Yeah.
are 8 and turning 6 pretty soon. So I do have kids at home, and they're a handful, and I adopted 2 puppies after the evacuation, so that's a handful too.
But what is it about teenagers? Because they can be a handful.
They are.
Certain
They are.
teenagers.
You know what? I like a challenge. I like the challenge of it, right? Like teenagers are really hard to develop the connection with. So they're pretty. They have their cliques and stuff like that. They don't trust people as much as, like, let's say younger kids do or adults do at that time. So that was my main goal at Justin Slade, was that I really wanted to develop the connections with teenagers. And I feel myself like I accomplished that. There's teenagers that have been coming to that center since I started that are still coming to this day. One of the problems that we face is that, we focus on 12 to 17-year-olds. We have kids that turn 18 that still want to be at the drop-in center, of course, because it's not just about what we offer at the drop-in center when it comes to programming or the social interaction. It's the relationships that they develop with our youth workers at the same time too. So they're our front line. They're the ones that are on the floor every single day, and they're getting to know the teenagers. And me as program coordinator during that time, I was obviously on the floor too doing the programming. So I got to make really good connections with the teenagers, and I like learning things from them. So that's
yeah.
definitely what my passion is that I want them to grow into successful adults. I mean, we're all going to be moving out of our positions when we get older, so I want them to feel confident that they can move into the positions that we're in and they can be successful in their future.
I'm imagining that the $65 million question for your board and your staff
Yeah.
is not necessarily the kids that you've connected with already,
Yeah.
but it's the kids that you want to connect with
Yeah.
in the future. My children, my friends' children's, I can't even talk today.
Yeah.
They're all, they live in this virtual world
Yeah.
to a large degree. So how do you approach making that personal connection outside the realm of the internet and gaming?
I guess the best way that I can answer that is partnerships with the schools as well, right? So, I mean, we do a lot of promotion in the school. We send Kyle is one of our youth workers that we have that goes out to the school to set up promotional tables. And so we try to get into the schools as often as we can so that we can inform kids about the programs that we are offering, especially about the drop-in center, because that's where the connection is made, is pretty much at the drop-in center. So once that happens, and then they start getting to know more about Justin Slade and about the actual programs, like the structured, organized programs that we offer, because of those connections that they make with us, they want to hang out with us more. So they like to come to those programs.
Sure.
So, and then, I mean, we make connections obviously through Facebook too with promotion and stuff like that. So it's something that we're still working on to try to touch base with as many teenagers as possible. I do know too that, I mean, at the Dugout for a while, it has been known in conversations that I've had with teenagers who don't actually attend the Dugout, like we were speaking earlier, is that it was to some of them, they think that it is a program that's offered for teenagers that maybe come from families that are a little bit less fortunate, but that's not what the foundation is about. What our foundation is about is the social interaction amongst them, is to get to know new people, get to know people that are outside of your cliques, learn some new things from people that are from pretty much all over the world too. So we have very diverse kids that come to the drop-in center at the same time too, so we like that.
I'm going to suggest we're going to play a game when we come back
Sure.
from it. And I think if there's parents listening right now that maybe have kids that are about to become teenagers or kids that are teenagers and you're going, what, the Dugout? I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
I want to have you, when we come back, paint some pictures of what is the Dugout and just take us on a virtual tour in our minds.
Okay.
That's the power of radio.
Yeah.
You can create those pictures.
Yeah.
You're listening
Hopefully
to Impact. My guest is Mandy, and she's up for the challenge. Mandy is the executive director of the Justin Slade Youth Foundation. You're listening to Impact. It is a collaboration of the United Way, Fuse Social, Shaw TV, Fort McMurray, and our friends right here at 91.1 The Bridge. Welcome back. I'm honored to be joined by Mandy McDonald from Justin Slade Youth Foundation. The Dugout. The Dugout is in the Haxton Center, which is named for Alice Haxton, who's a lifelong resident of our community and one of the real foundational builders of our community. It's located in Borealis Park, which Carolyn Slade had a hand in designing. I don't know if you knew
yes.
that.
Yeah.
And it is downtown.
Yep.
I don't know, what is that street that runs to?
Morrison.
It's Morrison Street.
Morrison.
Okay, but you say there is a bus that now goes that way?
Yeah, yeah.
Marvelous. You can get transit. What bus number? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I don't actually.
I'll have to ask my kids.
Well, I mean, I know that I used to know it before, but the bus routes have changed a little bit
Yeah.
since the evacuation, so I'm not quite sure.
So it was built as part of this park, which is, it's been there for a while, as long as I've been in Fort McMurray. What, if I'm a parent, and I am, paint the picture of when you come into the renewed Dugout, what is there for kids that will be of interest, of all kids, for all kids?
Yeah, sure. So you walk in the front doors of the Dugout. One of the new things that we have in there too is our sponsorship wall, which was launched during the grand reopening that we had. So the sponsorship wall is pretty much anybody who has donated to the foundation, and we called it the bricks that built us. And as the years go by, we hope that we expand the bricks more and more, that it covers the whole front foyer. So you walk in and you can see our big front desk, which a lot of the youth workers are sitting at to kind of greet the kids when they come in. We want them to hang out with them pretty much at that time. So they'll come in, they'll ask them their name, they sign in, and then they're free to kind of go in and start interacting with the other teenagers that are in there, and of course obviously use the services that are offered in there. So when you go into the main room there inside the Dugout, another new thing that we actually implemented into the drop-in center over towards where the windows are on the left-hand side is a reading nook. And that reading nook came from Emily Ryan, actually. So Emily Ryan's stepmother sits on her board of directors, which is Melanie Matthews. And so we really wanted to have something in there that reminded us of Emily all the time. And Emily was a big reader. So we put that corner in there with some of the donations that have come in from the evacuation. So we have lots of books that are offered in there. That was her favorite thing to do, was read. One of the things that I'm sure that you guys have heard before with Emily, when people speak of her, is that never bend the pages in your books. She doesn't like the bent corners down there. So we have our bookmarks and stuff that are there as well. And so it's a constant reminder for us too.
I'm going to stop you there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a teenager. You haven't sold me yet.
Okay.
What is the big hook for teenagers?
Okay. I have some other things.
Forget
too.
about the parents for a minute.
Okay. So we have our graffiti wall that
Okay.
was
Do
put
they-
into the drop-in center by Ruth Perry as well.
Okay, do they get to graffiti it as
yes,
well?
Yes, they
Oh,
can. So
really?
there's spaces, there's
Oh,
some
too
bricks
fun.
that are down at the bottom of it.
Okay.
So the bricks were put there so that kids can come in there and sign their names
All right,
and whatnot
that's
to
cool.
it, so they can add a little piece of themselves to the wall too.
All right, what else?
We have a big gigantic TV. I'm pretty sure it's about 80 inches that's in there right now, and it offers, we have the Apple TV in there, we have the Netflix in there.
80 inches?
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
even know
pretty
they
big.
made them that big.
Yeah, it's pretty big. It takes up the whole wall, I'm pretty
Wow.
sure. So, yeah, so I mean, we have the Netflix and the Apple TV. So that's kind of like our movie area so that the kids can come in, they can sit down, watch movies, watch the Apple TV, the Netflix TV shows, whatever they want to do at that time. And then one of our big catches that we have now too is in the back room is kind of our gaming room, because teenagers are huge for gaming right now. So some of the new things that we put into the drop-in center is actually the virtual realities. So we have the HTC Vive, which is a virtual reality that's hooked up to our PC. So we also had 2 gaming computers. I don't know a whole lot about online gaming, but apparently it's really big for teenagers right now. They really do love it. So we had PCs that were built by Memory Express that are specifically for gaming. So they have the headphones there, they have the microphones, everything attached to it, and then you have the big goggles that you put on for the virtual reality. We also have the virtual reality that is for the PlayStation, and then we have all your gaming consoles back there. So we have about 4 TVs back there and 2 computers, so that the kids can kind of sit back there and they can all have their own little stations that they can play video games at. So we have your PlayStation, we have your Xbox, we have your Nintendo Switch, actually is the new one that we have now. So there's lots offered in there.
So that, I guess the practical question is, when do kids come and when are you open?
So we are open 7 days a week. So from Monday until Friday, we're open at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And we close down at 8 o'clock. On Saturdays, we're open from 12 until 8, and then on Sundays, 12 until 6.
Any cost?
No. No cost
It's
to
absolutely
anything.
free
Yeah.
for anybody.
Yeah. No cost for anything.
Wow.
So not just with the drop-in center, but any programs that we offer outside of the drop-in center too. Like I was talking about, the JSYF presents the other program aside from the drop-in. We don't charge anything. And we want teenagers to come into either the drop-in center or any of the organized programs that we offer and feel equal to each other. So that's the big catch to it, is that don't charge anything. So any programs that we offer, they're always free of charge so that they all come and they feel equal at that time. So we don't want to put any financial burden onto teenagers or onto their parents. So we're happy to offer them free of charge.
So I reacted with surprise.
Yeah.
Is that a common reaction?
Yeah.
This was probably
Yeah.
hard to get that message out.
It is.
The,
It is, yeah.
The Dugout is free.
Yeah.
F-R-E-E.
Yeah.
Free. So hopefully parents clue into that.
Yeah.
And get involved.
Yeah.
You have a team of great people that work with you.
We do.
They tend to listen to this program.
Yeah.
What would you say to them?
I love you guys. That's pretty much all I can
Who are
say.
they?
They're okay. So we have obviously myself as the executive director, and then underneath me we have Alexandria Stuckless King, known as Alex. We call her Alex, and she is the program coordinator right now. Underneath her, we have Kyle Burke. Kyle Burke has also been with the foundation for quite a long time. Same with Alex. Alex is only 1 year behind me because she took over my mat leave when I had my second child. So they're pretty much, I think Alex came in a couple of months or close to a year before Kyle did. So Kyle is a youth worker and also focuses on our community engagement. We also have Nicholas Matthews, who is one of our youth workers. We have Allison Keogh, who is also a youth worker, and then we have Erica James, who is also a youth worker. So Erica is pretty much the one who was a little bit fresher. We had Allison for a really long time, and then Allison had left for a little bit during the evacuation. She stayed in Edmonton for quite a while, and then we're happy that she came back to us. And then we also took on Erica. So I speak really highly of Erica at this time for me, because Erica was actually a teenager who had come to the drop-in center since she was maybe about 11 or 12 years old. So it was the first time that we've ever taken a teenager and turned them over into a youth worker. So I'm really proud of her.
That's great.
Yeah.
One final question. A lot of people that really believe deeply in this community listen to this program. And you're doing important work and you want to have more impact in the community. How can other people help you have more impact, do you think?
Just put the word out about the drop-in center and put the word out about the programs that we offer. Follow us, especially on Facebook, and share our posts for us so that the word is out there for teenagers. We want to make sure that we're known really well in the community, and like I said, teenagers really focus on social media at this time, so the more that people share our Facebook posts, we definitely encourage parents to like our page at the same time too. So you can search us on Facebook, which is JSYF, and then it'll come up in brackets as Justin Slade Youth Foundation. Like our page, share anything that we have, so the more shares that we get, the more the word gets out there, because that's where the teenagers are at, is on social media.
Are you on Instagram as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so kids are on Instagram apparently.
Yeah.
And something called Snapchat, I don't know what that is.
I love Snapchat. Yeah, love it. I get lots of Snapchats from teenagers every day.
I love it. Mandy, thank you for coming in. You did great. You weren't nervous at all.
Yeah, I am. I'm pretty sure my hands were sweating.
No, you did awesome. Thank you for all the work that you and your team do at Justin Slade Youth Foundation and the Dugout. You've been listening to Impact. It is a collaboration of the United Way, Fuse Social, our good friends behind the cameras at Shaw TV, Fort McMurray, and right here at 91.1 The Bridge.